Hello there, subscribers, YouTubers, and friends. Today we are going to discuss a what if Antarctica was colonized. Antarctica is a very mysterious continent on our Earth. It very often tends to be forgotten since there are no humans, almost. Except for the few scientists and maybe also other job-related people who work in there, Antarctica was never really, hospitable for humans. There are a lot of penguins. There are no polar bears, no. They are in the Arctic, but not in Antarctica. Don't get it wrong, guys. And basically, Antarctica is still very much intact. I mean, it doesn't have human structures, it's very isolated, and it's the biggest desert worldwide. It's not a hot desert, but it is a desert by definition. Now, to have what if Antarctica was colonized, we should not imagine, like, let's say, over millions of people. No. Let's say we base it upon having permanent settlements. As you know, for instance, Greenland also doesn't have so many people living on there. There are basically, I think, like 70,000, if not even less. So let's go straight forward to the topic. Now, basically, in South America, you had different tribes living there. And they are not all known to us, so I will make a very, very short introduction of a tribe which I think would have the potential to make a permanent settlement on Antarctica. The tribe that I'm talking about are the so-called Yagan people, or as they are also known in the English-speaking world as Fuegians, because they come from Tierra del Fuego. Tierra del Fuego is the southernmost part of Chile and Argentina. And as you know, it is a very cold place, which many people tend to forget. Yes, South America has very cold places. And it is actually the closest populated part to Antarctica. And as we know nowadays, the Yagan people were nomads and also hunter-gatherers. They traveled by canoes between islands to collect food. And the men, they hunted sea lions, while the women, they dived to collect shellfish. Now, of course, this lifestyle is very appropriate if you're living in Tierra del Fuego. Now, if you're going more south to Antarctica, things are getting a bit different. But if we suspect that for some reason, let's say there was a tribal war, or people just drifted apart, let's say like 50%, they would just die if they were in Antarctica. But on the other hand, they could maybe adapt, perhaps have a loss of population, but over the centuries they could actually make the best of it and even, I think, populate other places. They would still very likely be very close living to the sea. They would keep their lifestyle, but maybe they would also have, they would try to collect somehow resources, because you must imagine that in Antarctica there are no trees virtually. I think there are no trees. You have plants, you have rocks, you can have resources maybe from the sea lions, from fishes, maybe even in the very extreme case from human bodies. But yeah, from that's all actually that you have. Maybe they can also still use skin from dead animals, from dead penguins. They would have to really be very specifically adapted once they land somehow in Antarctica. So there we have the native population of Antarctica, a branch of the Yagan people, or as we know them as well as Fuegians. Now for the other parts of the colonization of Antarctica, there is another suggestion that I have. Basically, this suggestion will take place during the Cold War. Why? Well, the Treaty of Antarctica would somehow never take place because the great powers and the other powers would have different interests in regards to Antarctica. So maybe some they would say we want to pursue scientific research, others would be straightforward and say we want to exploit Antarctica for the resources. And I'm thinking mainly about Russia and the US and also other bigger powers who may be linked to the one bloc or the other. Mainly with all the resources, they could actually try to create more weapons, create a better economy, all the things that we need in our human life. And I think resulting from this colonization of Antarctica, you must first think that there won't be an identity of Antarcticans in that sense. Because basically there you would have workers who go to this place who are contracted, and maybe they would work in mines, maybe they would do research, maybe they would, I don't know, create technology. Soldiers would go there and many other jobs that are related to it, like medical jobs and all of that. So they would always change over times because, of course, not every job would have a unlimited time. So there would maybe come new people and it would change over the time. And they would be from all over the place. So on the US base you would have Americans, on the Russian base you would have Russians, and then also on all the other bases like from Argentina, Chile and so on, you would have the respective population. You could imagine the same idea of Argentina, but taken into the extreme by all of the people and nations who have a base in Antarctica. I don't predict different outcome for the rest of the timeline. I also don't really predict seeing cities emerging on Antarctica, but I can see having fewer permanent settlements and even having annexations taking place on Antarctica. Because once you start to have powers who want to take the resources, they will also change the laws and then declare that this part of the territory belongs to them. So in order to have some defense mechanisms already ready, you will have then, for instance, Australia, who will just do the same. They will annex the territories. New Zealand will annex the territories. Argentina, Chile, United Kingdom, and so on and so on. And as a result, they will place more military in there, more soldiers. You will have a very powerful marine in there. Argentina will actually become not heavily militarized, but to some extent they will be more militarized than most of the world's region. Might this create some more tensions? Yes and no. Yes, because you will have a new place with other problems and a place which actually is not totally discovered yet and totally explored yet until even nowadays in our timeline. And you will have hungry nations who will try to just gather and collect all the resources that they can find everywhere. So of course this will create tensions because, I mean, resources are very vital for the survival of great powers. On the other side, no, because you have other places around the world where you also had, let's say, like tensions, but at the end it was just a very normal situation. I mean, not every country, not every nation is best buddy, and also the leaders, they are just making policies in the interest of their nation. So, of course, it can hurt the other nation as well. But it doesn't mean that they will have to attack each other. Maybe it will just be a continuation of the Cold War without having the war going warm. And it will just be, let's say, another point within the Cold War, having the scramble of Antarctica. Maybe to some extent it could lead to a different outcome where all the resources, if they are extracted, will, I don't know, make more performant rockets, having a never-ending space race. There are some possibilities there, but for the rest, I don't think that colonized Antarctica will change that much in the world. Maybe if you go more into the future, there could perhaps happen something, but for the rest, I think it would just stay as it is. So that was it. I'm Althistory Luxembourg, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and I would gladly welcome you the next time on my new video. Have a nice day. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, give a comment, give a like, and watch all the other videos that I have on my channel. Have a great day.